A traveling salesman is driving down an Arizona highway when he spots a sign, Sisters of St. Mary, Cat House of 1,000 Pleasures, 10 miles. He shakes it off as his imagination until he sees another sign, Come visit Sisters of St. Mary, Cat House of 1,000 Pleasures, 5 miles. Then another, Next right, Sisters of St. Mary, Cat House of 1,000 Pleasures, good time guaranteed. Although a God-fearing man, curiosity and wicked temptation win him over. He turns into a parking lot, gets out of his car, and sees an old stone convent with a small, simple sign that simply reads, Sisters of St. Mary. He pulls on a rope, which rings a large bell. Moments later, a nun opens the door and greets him. What may we do for you, my son? He replies, I hope I'm in the right place. I saw the signs for the cat house and was interested in doing, business. The nun smiles politely. Ah, yes, indeed you are, she says. Please follow me. He follows the nun through twisting hallways until they stop at a large wooden door. Knock once, she says. He knocks once, and the door is opened by another nun who is holding out a tin cup. Please place $200 in the cup, then go through the large scarlet door at the end of the hall. He takes out his wallet and quickly drops the $200 into it. His excitement mounting and his heart thumping, he rushes down the hall and passes quickly through the scarlet door. Click. The door locks behind him, and he finds himself outside the convent in a courtyard next to the front parking lot. Looking around, he spots a large sign on the far wall that reads, Go in peace. You have just been screwed by the Sisters of St. Mary. May God be with you, sinner. There were 3 young priests about to take their final vows. The last test they had to pass was a celibacy test. For this, all 3 had to strip naked and tie a little bell around their penis. A belly dancer entered the room and started slinking around the first priest. Ding-a-ling. The chief priest said, Oh, Patrick, I'm disappointed. You failed. Go and have a shower. The belly dancer had stripped as far as her last veil for the second guy when the chief heard, Ding-a-ling. Joseph, I'm very disappointed. You can't resist the temptation of a woman. Go for a shower, said the chief priest. The belly dancer started dancing totally naked around the last priest. She did everything erotic she could think of, but no bell rang. John, I'm delighted. You've passed. You can resist the temptation of women. Now go relax and take a shower with Patrick and Joseph. Ding-a-ling.
2 hillbillies walk into a restaurant. While having a bite to eat, they talk about their moonshine operation. Suddenly, a woman eating a sandwich at a nearby table begins to cough. After a minute or so, it becomes apparent that she is in real distress. One of the hillbillies looks at her and says, Can you swaller? The woman shakes her head no. Then he asks, Can you breathe? The woman begins to turn blue and shakes her head no. The hillbilly walks over to the woman, lifts up her dress, yanks down her drawers, and quickly gives her right butt cheek a lick with his tongue. The woman is so shocked that she has a violent spasm, and the obstruction flies out of her mouth. As she begins to breathe again, the hillbilly walks slowly back to his table. His partner says, You know, I'd heard of that hind lick maneuver, but I never seed nobody done it.
So old Jed is screwing his goat when a neighbor witnesses this unspeakable act of bestiality. The neighbor calls the cops, and Jed is arrested. Jed goes to a lawyer, explains the case, and the lawyer says, I can defend you for $5,000. What's the point, says Jed. My neighbor witnessed the whole thing. Why should I waste $5,000? They're going to find me guilty for sure. Don't you worry none, says the lawyer. The key to any trial is the jury, and believe me, I know how to pick a jury. So Jed reluctantly agrees. The day of the trial, the neighbor gets up on the witness stand. The prosecutor says, Tell the jury what you saw. So the neighbor says, I was walking along my property when I saw old Jed over there approach one of his goats, drop his drawers, and mount that poor animal from behind. After being about 2 minutes old, Jed appeared to be finished.
"What happened then?" asks the prosecutor. "Well," says the neighbor, "then that goat turned around and licked Jed's pecker." A gasp went up in the courtroom, and old Jed had all but given up hope when a juror in overalls leaned over toward the fellow next to him and whispered, "You know, a good goat will do that."
Attorney, before you performed the autopsy, did you check for a pulse?
No.
Did you check for blood pressure?
No.
Did you check for breathing?
No.
So then it is possible that the patient was alive when you began the autopsy?
No.
How can you be so sure, doctor? Because his brain was sitting on my desk in a jar. I see, but could the patient have still been alive nevertheless? Yes, it is possible that he could have been alive and practicing law. A woman wanted to open a savings account for her little daughter. The daughter was delighted. "It's your account, darling," Mother said as they arrived at the bank, "so you fill out the application." Kathy was doing fine until she came to space for name of your former bank. After a slight hesitation, she put down Piggy. A guy walks into a bar with his pet monkey. He orders a drink, and while he's drinking, the monkey jumps all around the place. The monkey grabs some olives off the bar and eats them. Then he grabs some sliced limes and eats them. Then he jumps onto the pool table, grabs one of the billiard balls, sticks it in his mouth, and to everyone's amazement, somehow swallows it whole. The bartender screams at the guy, "Did you see what your monkey did?" The guy says, "No, what?" "He just ate the cue ball off my pool table, whole." "Yeah, that doesn't surprise me," replied the guy. "He eats everything in sight, the little bastard. Sorry, I'll pay for everything." The man finishes his drink, pays his bill, pays for the stuff the monkey ate, and leaves. 2 weeks later, he's in the bar again, and his pet monkey is with him. He orders a drink, and the monkey starts running around the bar again. While the man is finishing his drink, the monkey finds a maraschino cherry on the bar. He grabs it, sticks it up his ass, pulls it out, and eats it. The bartender is disgusted. "Did you see what your monkey did now?" he asks. "No, what?" replied the guy. "Well, he stuck a maraschino cherry up his ass, pulled it out, and ate it," said the bartender. "Yeah, that doesn't surprise me," replied the guy. "He still eats everything in sight, but ever since he swallowed that cue ball, he measures everything first." Bob walked into a sports bar around 9:58 p.m. He sat down next to a blonde at the bar and stared up at the TV. The 10 p.m. news was coming on. The news crew was covering the story of a man on the ledge of a tall building preparing to jump. The blonde looked at Bob and said, "Do you think he'll jump?" Bob said, "You know, I bet he'll jump." The blonde replied, "Well, I bet $20 he won't." Bob placed a $20 bill on the bar and said, "You're on." Just as the blonde placed her money on the bar, the guy on the ledge did a swan dive off the building. The blonde was very upset, but willingly handed her $20 to Bob. "Fair's fair. Here's your money." Bob replied, "I can't take your money. I saw this earlier on the 5 p.m. news, so I knew he would jump." The blonde replied, "I did too, but I didn't think he'd do it again." Bob took the money.